What's up? What's up? What's up? And welcome back to Engage Live on After the Snap. I'm your host, Tasha Pierce. And yes, I am a day late and a dollar short. And hopefully, I know I look rough. Hopefully, I don't look like I feel. Yeah, so I talked to, or I sent out a message yesterday that I explained that I sprained my back. So sitting down is an issue. A lot of pain going on right here, a lot of pain. So if I seem like I am uncomfortable, I am. But I did need to come out here because I prepared a show. So prepared a show for yesterday. So I said we can't let that go to waste, all that preparation. So I am here today to talk some track with y'all. Hopefully I get somebody in the place because I know I'm late. I know I'm a day late. So we're going to sit and wait for just a few minutes, see if we get anybody in here. And then I am going to get into today's programming. Yeah, had a little slip, but I didn't fall. So I caught myself. But in catching myself from falling, I hurt my back. And it is excruciatingly hard to sit here right now. But I'm on some medication, so hopefully that is going to be something that helps me out for sitting for an hour or so. Yeah, and I kind of don't want to jump in just yet. I kind of want to wait to see who I get because I got an interactive show. Of course, we do our live streams is usually on Sundays from at 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Again, I'm late this week because circumstances, situations. Um, but I do want to discuss what we found out, the little that we know about what's going to happen with Star Trek Lower Decks, and also some other pieces of news that we got. And then a question I guess we could pose to the audience about what direction should Trek go. Hey there, Clarence. I'm glad your face is in the place. I checked out. Oh gosh, and I cannot remember the name of the podcast. Earth Station, something like that. Clarence, put that in the chat if you can. The name of the podcast that you guested on. I watched that episode. It was a very good discussion. I enjoyed watching. First and foremost, every time that I get an opportunity to support my brother, I'm gonna do it. But then also, it was a very good Earth Station Trek. Hey, Miss Powell, welcome back to the place. Glad to see your face. Yes, that was the name of the show. So, Miss Powell, if you watched it or if you listened and you may have got an opportunity to hear our friend Clarence give his thoughts on the best crossover episodes. So, Earth Station Trek, yep, Clarence. So he was representing discussing Trek and the discussing network on that show, and a real fun conversation. So if you are looking for more Trek content, that's a good one to watch because not only because my friend was on it, but also because they had a very good conversation. And they may have gotten themselves a new subscriber because I was not aware of the podcast. Hey there, Win Grace. Funny story about Win Grace also, and let me see if I can pull up that screenshot that I sent to you, Win Grace. I went to because Win Grace is also one of my brothers, my Trek brothers, and he has a show that he does. It's he usually just does videos. I don't know if he's gonna dip his toe into the live stream arena, but we've discussed it. I'm not gonna put no pressure on our brother. Say Clarence said those guys are super sharp. I bow in their episode knowledge. They are very, very they can pull those episodes just off like a muscle memory. I can think of an episode, usually I get a little help, especially with Miss Powell in the place. She usually knows exactly what episode I'm talking about with even my crazy little uh my synopsis that I give is usually something all over the place, and she could pull that episode right out of the air. So I am so glad to have people like that in my crew because I need it, because I know the episode that I'm talking about, but I don't always know the name and episode numbers and all of that. So let me see if I can find this picture that I was talking about with for Wind Grace, because it was some weirdness that went on. Okay, so I went to watch Windgrace's latest video on YouTube. And you can find his, it's under Windgrace. You can find his channel under Windgrace. And he also has a wealth of Trek knowledge and very good commentary on his videos. And I don't always comment, but I'm always there. So let me let me pull this up. I went to go listen to Windgrace's latest episode, and when I got to it, I was like, does he have a guest on? Because this is what I got. And this ain't Windgrace. So it has Windgrace, it has his subscriber count and all of that, and even the correct title of the episode. And this, it says ranking season 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And this ain't Windgrace. So after I had let it play for a couple of seconds, I realized he ain't even talking about Star Trek. So I don't know what happened. Is this something that has happened to anybody else where you have pulled up one show on YouTube and got something totally different? Because this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this, and it threw me for a real loop. It threw me for a real loop because I'm like, this ain't Win Grace. um, yeah. Clarence has great breakdown on your Strange New World rankings. Win Grace. Yeah, I tuned in to listen to that, and I got something entirely different. So tell me if something like this has ever happened to you, because that was weird. I even fast forwarded. Like, is it something that I started fast forwarding through it, trying to see if it was a trick? Because Win Grace is a jokester, a trickster. I'm like, is this a trick? It wasn't a trick. This was really this guy's video, and I don't know who he is. And and I don't know, what he was talking about was not even Trek adjacent. He was talking about oh, so it has happened to Miss Powell before. I'm glad it ain't just me, because I was like, what in the world? He wasn't even talking Trek adjacent. It was he was talking about somebody who got demonetized, and they needed to be demonetized based on what he was saying. It was just some weird stuff, but I didn't stick around for too long because I'm like, I don't know this guy, and I don't know if he's going to say something that I don't support. So Clarence said that's never happened to him. That's crazy. And Justin, no, I'm not better, but I'm well enough to sit here because I'm medicated right now. I've taken a muscle relaxant, so things could get interesting in about half an hour or 45 minutes. You guys let me know if you notice a difference in in me. But while I got y'all here, I might as well get things started. I was just waiting around really to see who got the message that I was going to be late. I'm glad you guys are all here. Um, First and foremost, you see the title of my live stream. Guess who's being promoted? So we know something is going to happen wonky in Star Trek Lower Decks. But before we get into that, let's just jump things off with a Beyond the Holodeck. Hey there, Norman. Will you take your break? Everybody deserves one. So hopefully you are enjoying your break, and I give you guys some entertainment during your break. So the first Beyond the Holodeck, because I've got several. Since it was kind of a slow Trek week, there was some news though. But first Beyond the Holodeck was, so I see other sentient beings like Klingons, Ferengi, Vulcans, and Benzites join Starfleet. I wonder if humans ever join the Klingon Star Command or the Ferengi Alliance, or another alien star force? That is a question that I don't have an answer to. I've never seen it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So because I know that if I got a question about Trek, that I could run it past you all, here's your opportunity to let me know what you know about humans joining other star forces in the galaxy besides Starfleet. I think the biggest example or the closest example that I could come up with is when the Maquis were formed and they were doing their thing in the Deep Space Nine era. But if somebody has something different, I sure would like to know. While you guys are pondering upon that, I can go on to our first topic, which, by the way, I did remember to link all of the uh, articles that I got my information from in our description box, along with a link to the Discord. If you've not yet joined, what you waiting for? You can join, be part of our ongoing Trek conversation over there. And yeah, let's talk about first and foremost, if you are a Star Wars fan as well as a Star Trek fan, and you are watching Disney Plus, Disney Plus just released its newest Star Wars series, which stars Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. She is a Jedi Knight on the hunt for the Empire's missing Grand Admiral Thrawn. Ahsoka made a change. So it marked a change when Disney Plus decided that they were going to release their episodes on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. So that makes Ahsoka appointment television. And the question is, do we need this in Trek? Would it benefit Trek to make the next live action series, which will be Discovery's final season? Should they make that appointment television? Do you think it will get more eyes on the episode? Do you think the conversation will get started around the episodes earlier? I'm going to take a sip of this because is it something that we think will benefit Star Trek? Let me put my glasses on because also my vision has been taking a crap here lately. And I still can't see. Ain't that something? So that means something's going on. Justice says, let me see. Okay, I think I might be able to read it over there. There was some stuff on Star Trek Online where there are humans that joined other groups, and there was some stuff in the books also. Very, very interesting. I don't know, and I'm pretty sure somebody will tell me if they know if that is something that we've ever seen happen in live action. As far as I can recollect, the closest thing I could come up with is the Maquis. Um, and Miss Powell is co-signing that. She's saying maybe in old Star Trek books before they made them canon with TNG after Nemesis. So there is a precedent in the books and let me see, in the video games where people humans have left Earth and went and joined other alliances or other space programs, which is interesting. So thanks y'all for answering. I knew somebody here would have the response. Now we need to know together, do we want appointment television for Star Trek Discovery? Now, a reason, I guess, one of the best reasons that I could think of for making Discovery uh, appointment TV, quote unquote, is because of the strike. There's nothing written. We need to get some excitement, some life into Star Trek Discovery, and the only other thing we have next year so far is Star Trek Lower Decks, right? So we'll have Star Trek Discovery, we'll have Star Trek Lower Decks. We don't have Prodigy, which would have filled in one of the holes that may be left by a lack of content in the Trek sphere. So if we made Discovery appointment TV, it could possibly generate a conversation around the final season of Star Trek Discovery. And then we'll be getting also later that same year, season 5 of Star Trek Lower Decks. But I'd like to know what you think, because it's going to be a dry year. We know this. We know going into uh to 2024 that things are going to be a little sparse, especially or depending upon how long it takes to settle this strike, which has gone on far too long, in my opinion. There have been some, let's negotiate, let's sit down at the table, and the studios and AMPTP are still, trying to lowball. Basically, they're lowballing the WGA and SAG-AFTRA, and they are finding out that the resolve of the people who are members of these unions is stronger than they probably thought. They probably didn't anticipate them being this resolute about what it is that they want, what they are bargaining for, and what they are willing to negotiate away. Uh, Miss Miss Powell said, "I still haven't watched Ahsoka yet, so no for me." So I haven't watched it yet. I've watched part of the first episode of Ahsoka, but I've been really busy with the baby. His mom is back in school, and that kind of makes my day. More of my day is taken up with Ashton. Clarence said, "It worked so well for Game of Thrones, but I don't see why they wouldn't do it. I think the only reason they release so late now, 12 Pacific, is to lighten the load on their servers." That's interesting too, because you would expect a crush to come in. The people who would typically be watching Paramount Plus anyway, and then those who would just be flooding in to watch their new episode of Trek. But the load might be a little light come next year, because there's so little new content being worked on. Nothing is being really worked on now. So I'm wondering if that would be something that they would consider. Um, and Justin is going back to our Beyond the Holodeck question. Has any, let me read it again. Let me see. If any humans have ever joined another alien star force, uh, he is contributing another answer, which is the only other thing was the officer exchange program in TNG when Riker joined the Bird of Prey crew, but that might be it. Yeah, and I remembered that, but I forgot. I forgot that would be included in a human joining an alien star force. Very interesting. Miss Powell said Paramount Plus should change their mind and just bring Prodigy back, which, if it were that easy, but they've already taken that tax write-off now. They've already gained what they were going to gain by giving Star Trek Prodigy away. So if they were to bring it back, I don't know what they would have to do. They would have to pay uh, whatever tax break they got, they would have to pay that. And whether or not there would be any penalties would be an entirely different thing. But picking up her second comment, CBS Studios is still finishing it. So the overall conglomerate is still spending money on Prodigy, but it can't see the light of day. Not under Paramount. It's under the same type of deal that we had with the Batgirl project over at WB, where they wrote it off as they took a tax write-off on it, and this movie was pretty much in post-production. And they took a tax write-off on it, and it's like we'll never get to see it. If they were to show it, they would get in some kind of trouble. But do not ask me what the trouble would be, like what the fines or penalties would be, and they would have to pay the tax break that they got on it also. Claire says, did you see the story about the Spiderwick Chronicles being canceled by Disney? Their first season was completely done. That was a Deadline article. Let's see. I heard something was being canceled over there, but I did not remember or I did not recall what it was. Let's see. Everything was done for it though, and that is what I'm saying. They're taking these tax write-offs, and we'll never get to see. 9 times out of 10, we'll never get to see that that series. I see you wouldn't Grace say, yeah, you missed a whole conversation about you. Um, it was pretty much the same conversation that you and I had already. This was weird. I couldn't understand why that was happening. And oh my gosh, I didn't see this either. Under the VFX workers at Walt Disney Pictures are seeking unionization with IATSE, which woo, I believe they need to be unionized, but this is a different conversation for a different day. Y'all know I like to talk. I like to talk about all of the entertainment space. It's just that Trek has been the best conversation every week after week that I've been having. But I could talk the entire um, entertainment landscape. I can't find that article, and I know. How about I go up to search and search Spiderwick Chronicles? Why is it? Why you not bringing up the search bar? Why you not gonna let me search this? Okay, we can do it another way. You want to play? I'll play with you. Let's see. The Spiderwick Chronicles not going forward at Disney Plus as part of a content cost cutting strategy shift being shopped by Paramount TV Studios. So wait a minute. So they probably or they're let's bring this article up here. And let's get you out the way there. Amid a focus on content curation and Disney owned IP, Disney Plus is not proceeding with the Spiderwick Chronicles, its live action series adaptation of the popular children's fantasy book, Deadline is Learned. The 8 episode series from Paramount Television Studios and 20th Television has been completed. It is currently being shopped by Paramount to other potential buyers. Okay, I thought I was understanding that Paramount was going to buy it. Paramount was the parent company. They had already given it to Disney, and Disney was like, nope, now it's a hot potato, and they're trying to figure out where it's going to find a home. The decision comes as Disney, along with other media companies, have been reevaluating their streaming strategies by cutting programming costs with a renewed focus on profitability. It is part of the major content write off announced by Disney in May. We're in the process of reviewing the content on our DTC servers to align with the strategic changes in our approach to content creation, Disney CFO Christine McCarthy said at the time. As a result, we will be removing certain content from our streaming platforms and currently expect to take an impairment charge of approximately $1.5 to $1.8 billion. And so, shortly after that announcement was made, dozens of original series and specials were taken off of Disney Plus as well as Hulu. In July, Bob Iger said there will be a pullback in making Marvel and Star Wars series and movies for Disney Plus too. Overall, Disney in February unveiled a plan for a $3 billion cut in non sports content spend. Additionally, Disney Plus's live action strategy has also been reassessed. The Spiderwick Chronicles was a rare Disney Plus series based on non Disney IP coming from an outside studio. So there's more to the article. You can see it is on Deadline. It's from 2 days ago. So if you're looking for it, you can go back. Maybe just don't be like me and just search Spiderwick Chronicles or go back 2 days on Deadline and you'll find that article. Miss Powell said from Variety about Spiderwick, the completed 6 episode series, which hails from Paramount Television Studios and 20th Television. And I think we got to the end part of that they decided not to go ahead with it, even though it was completely done. These streaming services, they may have overplayed their hands with all of the original content and how prohibitive that was going to be from profiting. Because once you reach a certain number of subscribers, you can't get any higher. Unless everybody in the world decided we are going to subscribe to Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Max, then once you hit your ceiling is hit. Now you're not making profit, you're just making enough money to cover these series that you have ordered. So yep, ugly times, especially to be a creator in that space, because you have created something that likely will not see the light of day, and that is never a good thing for a creator. So should Star Trek be appointment TV? um, I've gotten I guess I've spoken like what I think would be the pros of it. I don't know about cons. If you all see any cons in making Star Trek Discovery specifically, because that's the next thing we've got coming live action. If we make that at a specific time or drop at a specific time during prime time hours, do you think that it will get more eyes on the series? And do you think it will be to the benefit of Star Trek Discovery, and there in proxy by will it benefit Paramount Plus? You guys let me know. And we will move to another Beyond the Holodeck after I sneeze. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. And this one is kind of this Beyond the Holodeck is kind of rooted in the real world, and I don't know if I like it. Let's just go to it, because it sure seems like that sneeze is not trying to come out. Okay, so according to technology, you know what? I don't know what article these people pulled this from. And I don't want to say that I pulled the article. I pulled it from somewhere else. But I see it says that prisoners could serve 1,000-year sentence in 8 hours. And it kind of made me think of the O'Brien episode in Deep Space Nine, where O'Brien served out that lengthy prison term, and it was, basically technologically enforced, and he was at the end of it all. How would that screw a person up? It says future biotechnology could be used to make prisoners feel as if they were serving a 1,000-year sentence, a team of scientists claim. I feel like that is so unethical for so many different reasons. But somebody sell me on it. Somebody make it make sense to me, because to me that seems like it would be a cruel and unusual punishment. But you tell me what you think. When Grace said, hell no. That's Geneva Convention stuff right there. Yes, it seems very, very cruel. And just watching a fictional TV show where we had something similar happen in it, it how it affected even O'Brien in a fictional show. Who How evil do you have to be to even come up with an idea like this? That I am going to make somebody, even if they aren't really serving this out, if they feel like they are serving it out, they have served it. Who wants to feel like they've lived what 100 lifetimes in some simulated prison? Miss Powell is agreeing. She says, no, that's not it. um Justice says, I think appointment TV would be okay. It reminds me of old school TV days. That would be, it'd be a nice throwback to, let's all sit down at prime time and watch this episode, and then we all start talking about it, and that word of mouth hopefully reaches the right person who will give that show a chance. So yeah, I can I'm with it if it's going to help the show. And Miss Powell said that article seems weak. Anything could happen in the future. And this is true. This is something that, of course, it would all be theoretical for right now until some idiot comes up with the idea of how to make it happen. On some freaking uh, Nazi German scientist shit, because that's exactly what it would be. But even to think that you would do something like that to somebody, I don't, and I'm almost to where I can say, I don't care what they've done. It's easy for me to say that now because this is not about a crime that's affecting me or mine, but even if they've done some dastardly horrible stuff, do we really want to do that to somebody? Yes, kind of the reverse of the inner light. Yeah, which I thought was creepy even back then. Yes. It's a horrible thing to even consider. And if people are working on making that type of technology, there are a million other things you could be working on right now. We can be working on clean energy. We could be working on um, ways to keep people from starving, to combat homelessness, to there are so many other things that you could put your mind to other than how can I punish somebody for thousands of years. um it was just an ugly thought, and I said I would really and truly like to hear other people's uh observations and commentary on this, because I think that would be a very ugly thing to have happen to anybody. And it just reminded me so much of O'Brien. Hey, David says, don't know how late I am, but glad I made it. Love y'all much. Love you too, sir. To preach, I don't usually need an invitation to to offer an opinion like this. But to me, yeah, that's just horrible. It's a horrible thought. And there are so many other things that we could be doing um, with our time. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, I would love to hear them in the comments. But we're going to move on because, like I said, my back is destroyed, y'all. Destroyed. Okay, our next thing is some more good news coming out of the Star Trek Strange New World Season 2 camp, and that it just continues to keep showing up on the Nielsen Top 10 streaming original programs list. It continues to show up. Now, this time it is in 10th place. Well, we've got two to announce, actually. Episode 7 was, and I can't remember the date, July 17th through July 23rd. Okay, yeah. And it was ranked number 10, but that is where it surpassed Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Picard showed up in the Nielsen Top 10, I think it was 3 times, and this is the 4th time um, for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But then we got to move on because the next episode 8, also showed up in the Nielsen Top 10. It moved up a spot to number 9. Still, it's a very unusual thing to see a Star Trek episode show up every week, or at least out of the first 7 episodes, 5 of them have shown up. We're still waiting on word for the last 2 episodes, how they fared. But this is, to me, I don't know how many people were hate watching the show. Okay, so we can't say this, but it does mean that this season was somewhat of a success. And last season it didn't even make it 10 times or 7 times, 5 times, whatever. Yep, it's starting to happen. The medicine is kicking in. It didn't even make it 5 times last season. So the word of mouth from last season uh helped push Star Trek Strange New Worlds into the Nielsen top 10 original streaming programs list 5 out of the first 7 weeks. And I think that's something that's an accomplishment. Um, Thank you, David. So you're a smart lady. Your opinion is valued. I appreciate that. Injustice says, I don't like the 1,000-year sentence in 8 hours, but from the victim's point of view, the convicted would feel the 1,000, but the victim or family will only see it as 8 hours. And that also, that's an issue too. Even if that's a horrible 1,000 hours for that perpetrator, the victim's family, unless they could experience something similar as like having feeling like they got 1,000 more years with their loved one, unless they can experience that in 8 hours, yeah, there would be no comparison to how those two things, how that punishment seems like a punishment. It wouldn't seem like a punishment to that victim's family. I agree. Close to Secret Invasion with many more subscribers on Disney Plus. Exactly. Those the watch because look, I'm looking at the numbers for number 9 for Strange New Worlds episode 8, which was one of my favorite episodes of the season. 395 million minutes, and does not have the power of the Disney behind it, that machine behind it pushing it. Now, I can say that many people hate watched Secret Invasion. I enjoyed Secret Invasion, by the way, but a lot of people didn't like it because it didn't feature anybody super heavy. It was only pretty much Samuel L. Jackson and Don Cheadle as characters that we have come to know and love. Sorry, but I enjoyed Secret Invasion. But most importantly, like Miss Powell said, it had the Disney machine behind it, and Star Trek: Strange New Worlds doesn't have that. So it's a remarkable achievement for this show. It continues to be the little show that could, and even if people didn't appreciate certain episodes of it, you have to appreciate the staying power of a series like Strange New Worlds. Take a sip here. It said the streaming Nielsen wasn't available for Paramount Plus until this year. So, gosh, what? Oh, so we don't know. What you're saying is we don't know how it would have fared last year. That's an interesting thought as well. It may have done well last year if it was available for if the Nielsen ratings were available for Paramount Plus prior to this year. I get what you're saying. And on the other hand, Strange New Worlds has more episodes to rewatch versus Secret Invasion. And the only thing that I can say is that they are going up to certain episodes. So, like at the point of the one that I've got on the screen now, there were only 18 episodes. Yes, you're right. They still have a whole library way back in the back. And it would make people kind of say, I want to watch the rest of it. If I watched this and enjoyed it, how about I go back and watch some of the other? Or how many people watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 1 all over again before they started Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 2? So I get your point. I get your point. And I don't know if I put that up there, but that's a good point. I think I got one more like Beyond the Holodeck, and this one is something I'm interested in, but I don't know how other people will feel about it. It's posted by Thomas on Facebook, and it was Harry Mudd appears in Discovery. So when do we see him in Strange New Worlds? Do we need to see Harry Mudd in Strange New Worlds? You guys let me know what you think while I pick up Miss Powell's next comment. Says, I'm curious how the numbers will look after the musical, which is very rewatchable. I know I watched it over several times the same day because I fell in love with we talked about the music. I fell in love with a couple of those songs, and I just could not believe how good that show was, that episode for me. And there are those who feel differently. I enjoyed the Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the musical Subspace Rhapsody. Some of those songs are just stuck in my head forever, and I enjoyed it. Okay, When Grace has an answer for the Beyond the Holodeck. He said, I have 100% expected and wanted that from day one. If not, Cyrano Jones could pop in. Now, that would be interesting too. Either one. I like to see Harry Mudd because I did truly enjoy Rainn Wilson's take on the character, and hopefully they would be able to pull him back in again. But I enjoyed his take on the character. I enjoyed the times that we saw him on Star Trek Discovery and on the short trek. The short trek was one of my favorite short treks as well. So I would look forward to seeing Harry Mudd again. I think that there is precedent for bringing him in and having him meet this crew. And I also think that there is I said precedent. There would be a good precedent for him to come in and meet this crew. And I also think that Rainn Wilson as Harry Mudd would just be a formidable kind of anti-hero in one of these episodes. I won't even call him an anti-hero, a straight up villain. So that's my thoughts on Harry Mudd. If you got any other Harry Mudd uh, commentary, put it in the chat. Ah, Miss Powell says she hated Mudd, but if the outrageous Okuna can show up on 3 shows, well, why not, right? She don't like Harry Mudd. Look, I think I liked him more in Discovery than I did in the original series. And in the original series, I didn't dislike him. So yeah, I get it. If you hate him, if you hate the character, I know you don't want to see him again. But like you said, they have an opportunity to use him. I mean, they could if they wanted to. So we gonna move on because I'm not trying to trigger Miss Powell with this Harry Mudd talk. We can move on to Star Trek Day 2023. We got a lot of stuff. Well, isn't it really a lot though? I'm going to miss their live show that they did with Will Wheaton hosting alongside of the Burton girl, Mika Burton. So I'm gonna miss that little tandem, and but we're still getting something for Star Trek Day. It's not going to go by without without being acknowledged. And I guess that this has to be the way that they would do it because the actors are not effing with the studio, so they can't do anything that is promoted by the studios. So I get it. However, the first thing we're getting is Jerry O'Connell hosting a salute to the franchise. Now, this means that this had to be recorded long before the strike, almost as if they were preparing for the inevitable, right? So Jerry O'Connell is hosting this salute to the franchise. It's a special program that's going to include uh, look back at memorable moments over the past 57 years. It's going to commemorate 50 years of Star Trek animation, which also makes me wonder. We know our friend Geek Filter, he was working on that big project and he couldn't really talk about it. And I'm wondering if this is part of it, because remember the last time he was in the chat, he said that's part of it. And I'm wondering if this is the other part of it, that he was working on commemorating 50 years of Star Trek animation. And that's his jam. He wrote a book about it, so you can look for his book. I forgot the name of it, if I can think of, if I remember to post it as a part of the community posts on YouTube and on Facebook, I will, because he wrote a book about the animated series, and he's been doing work like that for a long time. And this might be something else he's working on, and I'm just interested to know because he is a friend of the show. They're also going to be paying tribute to Star Trek Discovery ahead of its final season. It's going to provide a exclusive sneak peek clip from the fourth season of Star Trek Lower Decks, and it's going to commemorate many other moments that highlight Star Trek's legacy. But I want to go back to the picture. Let's go back to the previous slide because it's going to promote, it's going to talk about the animated series, and it's going to talk about Star Trek's legacy and all of this. Have you noticed it's some faces that are conspicuously missing from this poster? And the face that I guess missing the most is Kirk. I mean, we got Uhura back there, and okay, I'm good with that. We're missing Kirk. And there's been a lot of complaining and grumbling about the fact that we're missing Kirk. And I'm wondering why. Is there a reason? Does somebody know? Please put it in. Hey, Geek Filter. Your ears must have been burning. Yes, indeed. I've been talking because you've been having me racking my brain, sir, for the last few. I mean, it's been a couple months since you said that. But yeah, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what it is you're working on. um so let me go up and pick up comments. You guys tell me your thoughts on this, the poster that they use for Star Trek Day and who is missing from it. And also what you all think about Jerry O'Connell's segment for Star Trek Day. They still haven't told us what time to expect to see that online. So I'm wondering if they're just going to drop it at, some point during the morning, and it'll be just there for us on September 8th. Let me see. So David said Mud's character was a train wreck of a dichotomy. You couldn't really like him, but he captivated your attention. Don't know if they can recapture that. But see, they did. I don't know if you still haven't had the opportunity to see Disco season 1. Was it 1? Yeah, Discovery season 1. I think Rainn Wilson did an outstanding job as Mud. If we're just talking about now, and Miss Powell, tell me if you agree or disagree. I'm not gonna be mad either way, but I'm gonna have something to say behind it. But I ain't gonna be mad either way because you don't like the character. But did you like Rainn Wilson's depiction in Discovery? That's a good question for Miss Powell, for anybody actually. Oh, it's an open question. And also, he played him again in Star Trek Short Treks. And let me tell you, that short trek to me was so good. As a matter of fact, I'm probably gonna go try to sit down and watch it again because I really enjoyed the short trek that he was in also. So if and ever you get your hands on the Discovery physical media, the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever, however you consume your physical media, I implore you. And look, you might not agree with me, and that would be fine. But I would at least like for you to get your eyes on the performance because I enjoyed the performance. Now, Ms. Powell said there were clips with Eugene Cordero and Tawny Newsome looking at old live action episodes during this special. Interesting. They're going to have them watching the live action stuff. In Geek Filter, we picked yours up. Wingray says, yes, they've been making Kirk smaller each year until he's gone. Just poof. And we also, Clarence and I talked about, of course, also missing is Prodigy. They've made no mention of them in this poster. It's like no Prodigy. If you want Prodigy, you better look at Janeway. And I'm wondering if These are people now that they've disposed of them and they're just lost to history. That's what it's starting to look like. I hope that that is not the case with Kirk, though. William Shatner's Kirk. Dominique Keating made a good edit to this. I saw it. I saw it when people were talking about what was missing, and he put Reed in the in the poster. I did. And Miss Powell says seven isn't correct. That's alternate universe seven. So unless they're trying to tell us something that that we should know, you're right. That ain't even the right seven. Yep. Because they've got, if I can see, and y'all know I can't, but they got the, it looked like they got the right Giorgio, but they don't have the right seven. Geek Filter says, I don't know what's happening on the stream. There are a few things I've been working on, but can't say anything. I'm not about to try to get you in trouble, so don't say anything. Geek Filter said, I too would like to know when it's happening because I'm supposed to do a live stream that day for the 50th anniversary of TAS, and I don't want to do it at the same time. Tell me where, well, tell us all when you are going to do the live stream for the 50th anniversary of TAS, because y'all know I haven't watched not one single episode of TAS since I was probably 6, 7 years old, and I don't remember them. I mean, and I didn't watch them all. I only watched one or two here and there. I've not watched TAS, and I know that eventually, with me doing Trek by Numbers, we're going to hit a TAS episode. Of course, that's just inevitable. I'm going to hit a season that matches episode and season number with TAS, but I still haven't watched any of them. Hey, Davina. I don't know if you're still in the place or if you just popped in to say hi, but hi. I'm so glad you made it. David said William Shatner chewed up the film, another hard to replace actor, unique and still pitching. And that's why I'm wondering why they didn't put him in the poster. And look, we can have problems with William Shatner's personal takes, but you cannot take away what he brought to the franchise. And that to me is a snub that we should not have had. We shouldn't have Giorgio and Pike at the expense of William Shatner. You got, yeah, I just don't think it was fair. Oh, Clarence was talking about Rainn Wilson being great in Disco. Fun times. Yep, it was a great episode for me as well. Oh, you never watched Disco? I don't know how. I never knew that. I thought you watched all of them. So, okay, you can't answer that question. That's not probably the only question. The only time I've asked a question that you couldn't answer, girl. Geek Filter says Prodigy makes sense because of what is happening currently. So I don't wish them any ill will from that. No, I hate the fact that just because you're not continuing with this program, does that mean that you can't make any mention of them at all? Or do you think that making a mention of them is going to uh create questions that you don't want to answer, that you don't want to answer? Because they've already answered during one of the conventions that, hey, everything that happened in Prodigy is still canon. We haven't erased it from canon, but it really looks that way to me. Oh, and speaking of that, Clarence has his live stream happening later on tonight. And let me tell you, Clarence, if you're still in the place, that was one heck of a thumbnail. If I wasn't watching it anyway, if I don't fall asleep after I finish this, because y'all know I told you I took this muscle relaxant, but if I don't fall asleep and if I wasn't going to watch your episode anyway, that thumbnail would have me sold. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Beautiful job on that. That for me that is very click worthy. Not that your other ones aren't click worthy, but that one right there spoke to me. I liked it. Geek Filter said, remember, a lot of people who are making the graphics in the show aren't even in control of what the big owners actually do. That is something to think about as well. They're not in control of it. They're doing what they're told. Or is that what we're getting at here? Wingray says no enterprise. I forgot about that, except for the fact that Dominique Keating put his picture up there. No Prodigy and no Kelvin universe. So none of that. None of that is represented for this Star Trek Day poster. Geek Filter says we are still trying to figure the time sometime before 5 p.m. Pacific. Yep, when you get something nailed down, well, because you are, and thank you very much, by the way, all of you who are um, patrons and members on YouTube. Thank you very much. I don't say it as often as I should on the stream, but thank you for being that for me. And when you find out, Geek Filter, please let me know so that I can send some love your way as well. David says, you and I are both suffering today. Hope your back, hope your back gets better. I got in a fight with a rock. I look bad, but you should see the rock. Pain Man is great when you actually need it. Yeah, when you actually need it, it's fantastic. But sitting down is worse than standing up or laying down because I could put pillows and stuff under there. If y'all ain't know, then it's like, oh gosh, my back. I almost fell, and I wish I would have just let myself fall because it probably wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have twisted my back if I would have just let myself fall instead of catching myself. So when I caught myself, I tweaked my back. Oh, it hurts so bad. Shatner was great as Kirk, absolutely. And whatever else you don't like about him, we got all the rest of this because of what they did way back then. Geek Filter says Star Trek is more than Kirk, though. It is more than Kirk. But if you wanted him, you could have brought in the animated version of Kirk, and then you also would have had TAS, which also isn't represented there either, along with Enterprise. I agree. And it would have been easy, especially since there's such a focus on the 50 years of the animated series. Um, that would have made up for it. It would have absolutely been the thing to do. You've got other animated or another animated character in here. So yeah, the animated character that was represented should have been Kirk, if you ask me. But I agreed with you also. Star Trek is more than Kirk. David says, got my TV and DVD player back, going to buy the whole Discovery series so I can be halfway intelligent with you good folks. As long as you are enjoying the conversation, I'm enjoying you being here. This it don't take too look who doing it. I'm not that bright. If I can talk about Discovery, anybody can. But yeah, I just want you to see it for yourself and judge for yourself. You've heard my thoughts on many of these Star Trek Discovery episodes, the ones that I have put up, and you've heard other people and their commentary, but I'd like to hear your thoughts like after you see it for yourself. Especially you're an Enterprise guy. Um Tell me where it stacks up, or does it at least live up to the reputation of your favorite Trek, which is, I believe, Enterprise, if I remember correct. Oh, you're welcome, Clarence. You gifted us with a beautiful thumbnail, sir. Um, Let me see. Miss Powell says Disco looked too far from TOS as a prequel. Maybe if it had started in the far future from the start. Also, the main actress has always given me the creeps. I love Sonequa Martin Green. I just love her. I love that little lady. So me and you, Mud and Sonequa Martin Green, we ain't seeing eye to eye there. But you know what? Still love you, sister. You ain't got to agree with me, as long as we can talk about it. Oh, I appreciate you listening to Sinister Silhouettes. If you don't know what Sinister Silhouettes is, that is my other podcast where I talk about some a little bit heavier stuff. It's conspiracy, true crime, paranormal, mystery, that type of stuff. if you enjoy those type of topics as well, please subscribe to that wherever you get your podcasts. I occasionally, because I just cannot sit my butt down to put together a video for my audio for Sinister Silhouettes. I need to get on it because I could put it up on YouTube as well. But I do have it wherever podcasts are served. You can listen to Sinister Silhouettes, and I appreciate it. I don't know what we're knowing about Davina. I missed something. Oh, are you talking about because of my back? It's always my back, girl. Always my back. Is there a Nichelle Nichols tribute since she passed away since last Star Trek Day? I don't see anything about it, but it does say they're going to commemorate many other moments that highlight Star Trek's legacy. So that's possibly number one why we got her on this poster representing um, representing TOS, and there could be another segment as well that I just don't know about. Geek Filter said, and I just drew like 5 TAS versions of TAS Kirk that they could have used, so they have no excuse wasting your talent. Now I'm really mad at them. Oh no, you said your hands were full when the rock attacked. Cheap shot quartz. You know, they don't ever, for those rocks never fight fair. When Grace says, I bet they don't put Shatner back on this thing until he passes. That wouldn't be a travesty. And Disco Season 2, says Clarence, is basically the Strange New Worlds pilot. Absolutely. We got a great understanding of Strange New Worlds, the characters, and all of that from Disco Season 2. You are correct, sir. And Davina says, I have no idea what's going on with any Star Trek shows. I'm here for support, and you are very smart, Tasha. I appreciate it, girl. Oh, gosh. Claire says, there are a few must watch episodes in there for Strange New Worlds fans. I think he's talking to you, Miss Powell. Miss Powell. He talking to you, girl. You go back and you watch season 2 of Star Trek Discovery and see if you don't find something that you like in there. You might. Rocks play dirty. Yes. Rocks. The Rock. Rock Hudson. Rock, paper, scissors. The Rocks always play dirty. All of them. Yes. So yeah, but that is all that we're going to have happening on Star Trek Day. Oh, but we haven't gotten to like the other part also. The other part of Star Trek Day is going to be the 50th anniversary of animated Trek. They're celebrating it at theaters in certain markets that let me see now, that are going to include 4 specially selected episodes of the hit animated series Star Trek Lower Decks. So you can attend these exclusive free promotional screenings and experience the brand new season of Star Trek Lower Decks on the big screen. The day is going to be jam packed with sneak peeks and surprises, free concessions, giveaways, and more. This is a can't miss event for long-time fans of Star Trek and adult animation across the US, Canada, and the UK. I think the way that um, they got around Star Trek Prodigy is by saying adult animation, because Star Trek Prodigy, we know, famously was made for kids, but a whole bunch of grown folks ended up loving it, right? So they say, okay, we're going to have fans of adult animation. We're going to put Lower Decks on the big screen, and they making no mention of Prodigy for the reasons that we've already spoken of. But then they also added that caveat of adult animation. So Miss Powell says she gonna survive without watching the Star Trek Discovery. Girl, I'm so disappointed. I might have to walk away. No, I'm just playing. Claire said he got his ticket. Oh, you are going. Well, you let me know. I know you will. I know you will. Let me know how it goes, because They don't have any screenings near me. The closest one to me is the one that you're probably going to, the one in Dallas. And speaking of which, let's just go to where I tell you guys where this thing is going to be showing at. The special Star Trek Lower Decks fan screenings will take place in Columbus. Columbus, I don't know which Columbus it is. Columbus, Ohio, Columbus, Georgia. It's a lot of Columbus. Columbus, Mississippi. It's a whole lot of Columbus. They act like there's only one Columbus in the United States. But anywho, it's going to be in Columbus, Dallas, Denver, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, St. Louis, Washington, D.C., Vancouver, Calgary, and London. So if you're close to any of those and you want to go, the tickets, they started doing that on August 24th. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're all gone. Wouldn't be shocked. But those are the cities that you will be able to go see it in. Yes, I agree, Geek Filter. I didn't get represented in Houston, and I'm in a major city. And no representation, none. And Ms. Powell said, "I wonder if they tried to hit cities that didn't get the Picard IMAX screening. We have free concessions, a poster, and a Q&A. By free concessions, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like a little small bag of popcorn or and a drink? Or are we talking about get what you want, not get like one thing that you want? Or how did they go about concessions for that? Tell me, because I don't know. They wasn't in my it wasn't in Houston area for Picard either. They suck. And Houston is a big city, I think. Might even be bigger than Dallas, huh? Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, I'm gonna quit being a hater. Okay. Next. Next. Did anybody else see this all on social media where the some people are part of the Save Star Trek Prodigy campaign had a banner flying over areas in Los Angeles, and the one that was most of most significance to me was they put that right over there by the Netflix, right over by Netflix headquarters. I thought that was cool that they said, "Hey, we are trying to we're trying to save this show, and we're serious about it, and we're gonna put our money where our mouth is." And they flew that banner around Los Angeles for a little while. Okay, small Picard popcorn box with popcorn and a small drink. That's enough. That's enough. So that would be what kind of concessions that you can look forward to. Um, if you think you're gonna need or want more, bring a couple extra bucks with you, because I'm pretty sure the concession stand will be happy to take your money at the screening for Lower Decks. Okay, so they flew by Netflix, Amazon, and maybe even Hulu. Look, I think they might be wasting their time flying by Hulu because we just found out that because Disney is the owner of Hulu, that they ain't trying to buy nobody else's stuff. No, they like, look, we got our hands full with our own stuff. But you can, I could see Amazon or Netflix picking it up. The producer was very, very happy and appreciative, and said that the fans, this fan movement was making a difference. So let's keep the noise going. Oh, and a poster along with the stuff that you got with with as far as the concessions and the promotional materials if you go to the screening. So I know Clarence is going. If anybody else ends up going, please let me know your experience. And those are things that you can expect from Miss Powell because she went to go see the promotional screenings of Picard. What? Are you serious? Geek Filter, you're part of everything. You got your hands in everything, sir. I am so happy just to have you here to put us in the right path. He said that's his photo. I helped organize people here in LA, and it was started by a woman in the UK. That is wonderful to know. The fan movement is working, or at least is making a difference, and hopefully, Star Trek Prodigy finds a home. Hopefully, it finds a home. Now, Geek Filter said head writer Aaron Waltke and Bonnie Gordon, the voice of the Protostar, and someone I've known for years, were there too. I saw a picture. You know what? I don't remember where. I don't know if I saw it on Threads or if I saw it on Twitter. You might have even been in that picture, Geek Filter. Now I need to, I need like an arrow pointing. I'm gonna have to find the picture. You said you'll stream Prodigy on your channel. You, you know what? See, I told y'all earlier. When Grace will tell a joke, and sometimes I'm thinking, like, especially when I'm just reading it, sometimes the joke will go over my head. This time it went over my head, but I was like, no, you come back here. And I brought it back, and I understand the joke. But yeah, if that's the case, then hell, I'll stream it on my channel. Shucks. we can make it a home for it. We sure can. Oh, okay. So Justin is telling us that he's trying to get tickets to see Patrick Stewart on October 3rd in Philly. He's having a book tour event. If you get an opportunity to see Patrick Stewart, I say take it. Take that opportunity because I love Patrick Stewart. And like I said, we're starting to see the twilight of his career, and any opportunity that we can have to spend another moment with him, I would take it. I would jump on it. Geek Filter said he will donate if Wingrace streams Prodigy on his channel. It'll be 24 hours Prodigy all day, every day. Well, now, since we were talking about animated stuff, um, so Philly is half an hour away from Justin. He's in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. Well, be safe, but enjoy Patrick Stewart. Give him an extra hug from me. So we talked about at the top. Guess who's getting promoted? So it looks like our lower deckers are getting promoted. Now, while you guys consider how you feel about the lower deckers being promoted, do you think it's a good move? Do you think it's a bad move? Do you just not care? Let me know in the chat while we talk about the actors who gave these interviews before the strike, okay? But the actors talked about how each one of their characters is going to be receiving these promotions. And starting off, of course, with Beckett Mariner, she tries to give this promotion back 80 times. And this is Tawny Newsome, of course, telling us about this. She says, which I can understand. She does finally accept it because she realizes she can still do her thing. She can still do some good. She can still be a little chaotic. She believes I'm still a lower decker. I'm still a scrappy underdog. Um, let's see. Doop 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 doop. Miss Pals, says my husband and I, my husband. My husband and I saw Patrick Stewart when we were college students. He did a free one-man show about Shakespeare's kings. I bet you that was good because he is in his element when you start talking about some Shakespeare, right? Um, said waiting for that Tasha Geek Filter interview. It's coming. We're gonna team up and we're gonna talk about this. I want to, but I'm like this. This man, number one, has told me how busy he has been over these last few months. I'm just happy that every time I bring him up, it's like I manifest Geek Filter in the chat. He just shows up every time I mention his name. So I'm really glad that he's in the chat with us today, especially as we move into this very special time for animated Trek. First and foremost, we're getting the fourth season of Lower Decks, and we're getting this commemorative season for 50 years of animated Trek. And to have him with his knowledge here, maybe we'll do that. We got to make it happen. Um, and Clarence, you said you'd be happy to come on. It might shoot. It might be need to be Clarence here too. We can make it because I was noticing, and I know this is all off the subject, but I was noticing that we could multi-stream. We could stream from my channel and well, we could stream on my channel and Clarence's channel at the same time with one interview. But we would have that would take a lot of coordinating between the three of us. But I'm not averse to it. I would absolutely love to sit down and pick Geek Filter's brain. Um, when Grace is liking the move, he said, I think it's a good move to see them be promoted. We don't need another Harry Kim. So that's one way of looking at it, huh? Geek Filter said Harry Kim should be a guest star after they are promoted. Oh my gosh. And okay, because they like to have a little fun at the expense of quote unquote canon from time to time. That would be hilarious. Because if I was Harry Kim, I'd be mad. I'd be mad as hell. Oh gosh, that hurt. That hurt my back to laugh like that. Anywho, um, so Jack Quaid, also known as Brad Boimler, he said, I love that the lower deckers got promoted. Boimler has his first away mission that he is leading, and he's nervous to say the least. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. He must eventually learn to trust his friends and trust the process. Of all of the ones who um, of all the ones that I could just see being promoted, Boimler is probably the one. I mean, he's goofy and all of that, but he's not a bad ensign. You know, he he takes it seriously. He wants to be a good officer. And I'm not saying that I think Tindy as well. We'll get to Rutherford in a minute, but yeah, I think Boimler deserves it. Now let's see. Miss Powell says Mariner just saved the whole ship at the end of last season after being defamed by her own mother. You are so correct. You know, I forget so much of what happens in Lower Decks because I'm not gonna say I hate watch it. I watch it because I'm expected to. If I'm gonna talk Trek, I'm expected to watch the series, and whether I like them or not, give commentary and try to be fair. But let me tell you, so much of Star Trek Lower Decks leaves my brain the minute that episode goes off. It's like I don't remember some of the stuff. I only remember the episodes that really stood out to me, and for good or for bad. And that was one of the episodes that I did like. I liked the 2 episode arc, in fact, of uh of the last, I think it was the last 2 episodes of last season when she saved the ship, and the episode before that. I think she left the ship. I like those. So yes, I need to remember those a little bit more. And then we got, I think I got Tindy next. Let's see if that's right. Tindy, and I gotta pull her name because I be forgetting. Noelle Wells. She plays Devana Tindy. Devana. Look, my good friend, sister friend that was in the chat. I don't know if she's still hanging out. Her name is Davina. So every time I see Devana, I think of Davina. So Devana Tindy. Tindy is very excited about being promoted. She's come to Starfleet with the hope of being assimilated, which is a hell of a choice of words. Um, I know she ain't talking about that assimilated, but you got to be real intentional with your words, with your verbs in Star Trek, because assimilated can mean a whole lot of things. She's come to Starfleet with this hope of being assimilated, but secretly she's finding this well of power within herself. So being promoted is a natural extension of all the hard work she is doing. And I think that she also deserves her promotion. She, even though, like, again, all of these kids are kind of goofy, but uh Boimler and Tindy seem like they are the most, they want it the most. Mariner, you can give it to her. She doesn't want it, or she at least didn't. She didn't want it. So you're promoting her is almost like a punishment. But Boimler and Tindy seem like they want it. Let's pick up some stuff. Um, Geek Filter says after September 8th, I will have more time. Good. We'll get together and put together a time and date so that we can sit down and talk. And I might be able to come up with some real good questions for you, Geek Filter. All the questions that I had brewing in my mind for the entire time that we had been talking about this big project. We should be post that big project, and maybe you'll be able to talk about it a little bit, and I can pick your brain about things. Miss Powell says she should be promoted. I still think that Mariner must have had a traumatic Dominion War as she was a high achiever until some unknown event. She reminds me of Rios before Picard season 2. Miss Powell goes on and says, I was surprised at how much I like Lower Decks. I don't usually like comedies. I'm not a big comedy person either. Lower Decks can sometimes get a little lowbrow for me. And the lowbrow may be juvenile. And I like some juvenile humor, so I can't say that, I don't like it because of that. Maybe I'm being a snob. Maybe it is not that Star Trek has to be so utterly serious, but maybe I feel like some of the humor is too far out there for me to be Trek. And I'm working on that because I talk about other people not wanting Trek to grow up. And in a lot of ways, I don't want to see it change either. Um, so this is another reason why I continuously try to find something I like about Lower Decks, because I'm trying to within myself discover whether or not it's me being a jerk because I just don't want to see Trek go down this avenue. And it's about, centering myself instead of centering this thing that I love. And when I center this thing that I love, I realize there are people who will never watch any other iteration of Trek unless they have a mention or something like that from Lower Decks. You know what I'm saying? There are some people who entered this entire franchise through Lower Decks, and they are no less a Trekkie than I am. So I have to continuously to remind myself of these things so that I will not be such a snob. I think that's what it is. And Geek Filter said that's how he felt about the musical. Lower Decks is way less silly than that. Fever Dream. And I truly love the musical. And again, not a musical person as far as, I guess there are instances where I will like a musical here or there. There have been some musical episodes that I really appreciate of other IP, but this worked for me. But I can also understand that it's not going to work for everybody. Now, if you watched the musical and you didn't like it, you know, thanks for watching. But if you didn't watch it, I just the opinions of people who didn't watch it, I cannot get into too much because I'm like, you don't even know what it is that you don't like about it, except for you just don't want to watch a musical, and that's fine. You didn't want to watch it. So I can't talk to you and discuss it and debate with you about the musical because you didn't watch it. Miss Powell says, definitely can get lowbrow. I love the musical as well. I must be getting less uptight as I get older. But shoot, girl. I mean the musical to me, fine. And again, there's some things about Lower Decks that I have to get off my high horse about. really and truly, but there were some episodes that I felt were truly outstanding. And I always bring it up. There was that Way Douche. I don't know how if I'm saying it right. That episode was so good that I think when I reviewed that episode, I was like, this is what y'all been capable of the whole time, and y'all been giving us this other stuff. Y'all been capable of a story like this. So I of course, if I, I'm going to continue to watch Star Trek Lower Decks, and I'm gonna give it a chance, and I'm gonna try to go in and be optimistic and be open-minded. But if I don't like it, y'all know I'm gonna say I don't like it. And if you like it, just like Miss Powell, I want you to tell me that you did. Tell me the reasons why you did, and maybe I can see, what other people see in the story, in Lower Decks, in the series. Because to me, well done animation. I haven't watched the animated series. Shame on me. But well done was Prodigy. The animation and all of that, even the casting for Lower Decks, mwah, spot on. These are the people that need to be playing these characters. But some of the storylines is what get me. Miss Powell says, I think that Lower Decks has some of the best music in its score. Chris Westlake loves the old Trek scores, just like Stephen Barton on Picard season 3. I'm gonna have to pay more attention with my freaking ear, my one ear. Geek Filter says, I love musicals. I will go out of my way to watch musical episodes of shows I don't normally watch. This I literally hated, a word I rarely use on many level, not to mention super bland music. But I'm glad they took the chance. It's good to push the genre. I agree with that. No matter what, some of these swings that they were saying that they took these big swings, I like the fact that they took the risk. Even if the risk, okay, it didn't pay off. If it didn't pay off, fine. You took the risk, you took a chance. And we need a little bit of that. And this is another reason why I'm like kicking myself in the butt over Lower Decks, because I'm like, they're taking a chance with the franchise, and it's not a chance that's going like you're going to lose the entire franchise if this one thing doesn't work out. They're taking chances. You either like the chance that they took or you don't. But for the company, for Paramount, for the series, for the actors, that chance was necessary. Even going from the way that they chose the direction they chose to go with Discovery to the direction that they've chosen to go with A Strange New World. All of those are chances that they have taken, and some of them paid off in dividends and some of them not so much, but the chance had to be taken. You got to keep growing. We have to keep evolving. So, um, let me see, Miss Powell family. Oh, he's saying that the music in Lower Decks is fantastic. I have to pay more attention instead of talking so much about what I don't like, right? We got this last character, main character being promoted, and that is Rutherford. Rutherford. Let me pick the quote back up. I got to pick your quote back up, Rutherford. Where is it? Okay, so Sam Rutherford is played by Eugene Cordero. He says, I think Rutherford has a fear of moving up or advancing too fast. I think he'd be worried to move to a different ship or be placed in a different world where he would have to give orders. That's an issue they're all having, but I think Rutherford would have the toughest time. So I'm gonna keep my eye on Rutherford. I hope he's gonna be okay with his promotion, because the two characters that I really am the most invested in on the show, even though I know I like all four of the main Lower Deckers, but I really like Tindy and Rutherford the most. Those are the ones I am the most interested in, outside of the antics of Boimler and Mariner. There's always a nice little side story with Tindy or Rutherford, and those stories are the ones that kind of captivate me more than what Mariner usually has going on. So I'm gonna hope that Rutherford gets over this fear of moving up. We're going to continue to keep our eye on him and his mental health. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about after I pick up Justin's comment here is there were some episode titles that have been put out there for season 4 of Lower Decks. I can't say that these episode titles are 100% correct, but we're going to take a look at them together. I haven't had an opportunity to go through and make a write down what I think each one of these episode titles mean. Some of them are going to be kind of obvious. Others, I would have to give it a little thought. And because I was in the bed writhing in pain for the last 2 days, I didn't do that. Oh gosh, and I'm trying to and after we get through with that, I'll take your comments and then I'm gonna get up out of here because I'm gonna lay down. But let's see. Justice says Lower Decks has some good stuff in it, but sometimes it reminds me of Rick and Morty, and I dislike most of that. But Lower Decks does at heart have the best parts of Trek. And I think, yeah, they mean very well. It is very Rick and Morty-ish because is it the same animator, creator? So that is one of the things that will remind you of Rick and Morty is, that's his style. And I'm okay with the animation and I'm okay with a lot of it. It's just some of it goes so gutter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did y'all really have to take it to that? And if y'all have watched any of my Lower Decks reviews from past seasons, you'll see some of the episodes. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh gosh, and you can see where I kind of fall off. Like, are you serious? So again, get off my high horse, watch it, find something to enjoy about it, and if I don't like it, so be it. But I'm going to at least challenge myself to find something that I enjoy about every episode. Um, Yeah. Uh, Geek Filter says it's suspicious that the rumors are only episodes 1 through 8. The number of screeners sent out. Oh, they need to be careful, or CBS is going to slam down the ban hammer. They're sending them out to the wrong people. Oh gosh, they need to send it to me. I wouldn't tell a soul. I would want to tell a soul, but I wouldn't tell a soul. Speaking of which, like Geek Filter said, 1 through 8 is the ones that they quote unquote have the titles for, but that is the number of screeners that they sent out. Now Miss Powell has going on about Rutherford. Rutherford, I wonder how old Rutherford is actually. His flashback with Admiral Buenamigo showed the Admiral back when he was a lieutenant commander. That's a long time ago. That is a long time ago when you really think about it. I didn't pay no attention. Now, when Grace says, but keep in mind, he was hired to Rick and Morty because Morty originally because he ran a TNG parody Twitter account. Did not know that. See, this is why I need you guys. Justice says, not a Rick and Morty guy, but to each their own. Yeah, I'm not either. I've never watched it. Miss Powell says, it's interesting how well the animation translated to Strange New World, especially the animated credits. Absolutely. That was a huge surprise to me how much I really enjoyed that episode, those little sciences. And when I say the episode, I'm talking about everything about it, starting with um the cold open, going into the credits, all of that, everything was just so well done. Uh I really appreciated that, and I hope that we see an opportunity to do something similar in the future. Geek Filter says, yeah, lower decks can be gross. I just try and think of it like having a friend who does dumb stuff that you don't want to be around for, and you just look the other way. Exactly. It's like, yeah, this is our little brother, or this is my little cousin. I got to bring him around because he is part of the family, but he does dumb stuff and he ain't going to be for everybody. But if you like him, if you really like him, you love him. And that's Lower Decks. Geek Filter is saying, good point to Miss Powell. I think about how well the animation translated to Strange New Worlds. You said, yep, TNG season 8 is believed. I messed up. I'm missing something. I'm missing something. I'm missing something. So y'all tell me what I missed. I don't know. Yeah, I hate when I don't know what a comment means. But okay. Um, let's talk about this. Let's talk about these titles before we get up out of here. The first episode is Tuvix. I mean, do we have to even try to guess? It sounds like some kind of it sounds like a play on Tuvix on the episode, but then also the way they spelled it is different. But it sounds to me that this is going to be a play on that. Let's see. Geek Filter said, "Oh, okay, I get it now." So Clarence was saying that this that when Grace was talking about a TNG parody Twitter account. So Clarence was saying, yes, it was TNG season 8. And Geek Filter is like kicking me, like, yes, lady. He said Mike McMahon ran a Twitter account about a fake 8th season of TNG. Makes sense now. So yeah. The episode 2 is I Have No Bones Yet, I Must Flee. That's a weird title, but if somebody has a clue what that might be about, please put it in the chat because I'm at a loss. I see the word bones. I start thinking about McCoy. It might not have nothing to do with McCoy. Tell me what you think. And then there's one that says In the Cradle of Vexilon. That's episode 3. Episode 4 is Something Borrowed, Something Green. Kind of makes me think that Tindy is going to get married or something, a wedding involving an Orion. That's the way I'm feeling. Let me know. Empathological fallacies. I don't know. Parth Ferengi's Heart Place. A few badgies more, which I can't wait. Because one thing I do love about Star Trek Lower Decks is I love Badgie. Love them. And then number 8 was Caves. Then we don't have the titles for episode 9 and 10, possibly for the reasons that Geek Filter outlined for us right here. The episodes, some of them sound like that they will be very, as usual, Easter egg heavy. We're going to get some callbacks, of course, to other series. I don't know if we're going to see some mention of what happened, the events of Strange New Worlds that occurred with our Lower Decks characters. Don't know. But these are just some interesting titles. Maybe the next time we get together, I will have given this some thought. And if you guys have thoughts, you know where to reach me. If the thoughts comes in the form of, hey Tasha, I need to write you a long letter, snap after movies TV at gmail.com. Let me see if I got that on a banner. How about I put it on a banner just in case somebody wants to send me an email? If I can see. I said snap after movies TV at gmail.com. And if that don't say that, y'all know what I'm saying out loud. I can't see. Snap after movies TV at gmail.com. So, anywho, So if you guys have something that you would like to say about these episode titles or anything else, hit me up on uh hit me up on in an email or any of the social medias or yeah, anywhere. Some of you guys can get me on YouTube. Some of you are members and some of you are patrons. Y'all know how to catch up with me. And again, I appreciate your patronage. I truly do. Y'all know that what's it? YouTube holds your the amount you're getting paid. Your members, so the dues that the members pay, they hold it for until it reaches $100. And it takes a long time for me to reach $100. So I haven't seen a penny of it yet, but when I get it, it'll be a nice little lump sum. With all that being said, I have got very little left and I see no new comments. But I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Geek Filter, thank you so much, sir. Clarence, I will see you at 8 o'clock tonight on Discussing Trek on YouTube, Facebook. Yeah, and if you don't catch us tonight, he does it as a podcast as well, wherever you get your podcasts. So you can check him out there. Win Grace. The name of his channel is Win Grace. Who else I got in here? Justin, Miss Powell. Oh, you guys have made the conversation fantastic. David, if you're still in the house, thanks for being here, sir. Davina, I don't know if you're still here. I love you, girl. Thank you for all of what you do. And I have nothing else, y'all. I love you. Talk to you soon. Live long and prosper. Peace.